Hello everybody, I'm Tony Craig. This is F1 Grandstand, and boy, lots has been going on today. So obviously if you saw our earlier video, you will know that Williams will be missing the Barcelona test. We also hear from Lewis, and Lewis says about what's required of him and what the team need to do with him for 2026. Some subversive messages in there, and we address the rumours. Could Lewis Hamilton have another interim race engineer? Because Boz was supposed to be his interim, and now there might be another interim. Anyway, we get into it. Also, Ferrari livery reaction, Alpine livery reaction. Flavio Briatore, we hear from him and his very clear message: no excuses. We also talk about why Mercedes are just so far ahead of all the other teams. Audi say their shakedown was unsuccessful, and Adrian Newey, I'm making people up. It's Friday night. It's far more relaxed. Adrian Newey is pissed. So yeah, we've got quite a lot to get into tonight, guys. I'm going to say a quick hello to the chat. Reevesy, Drop Tune, Crackite, Gemma, Queen of the Chat. Reevesy's got us on. He's got us on his AirPod. Because he's out with his manager. I love a bit of subversive, clever watching of F1 Grandstand whilst you're at work. I appreciate it, Reevesy. We're here for it. So yeah, lots to get into tonight. Oh, by the way, if you are an F1 fan, you're in the right place. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Smash a like on the video if you do enjoy it. And if you are brand new and you're subscribing for the first time, make sure that you got the bell all icon ticked. That way you're in control of which content that you engage with. And I've just seen that comment, Gemma. Are you pissed? No, I'm not. It's been a long week, hasn't it, guys? Do you know, it's Friday night. We're just finally getting into that relaxed mode. I've got my Diet Coke. We're going to try and unpick all of this stuff that's been going on. And there has been quite a lot. I'm sick to death of talking about engine loopholes, but luckily tonight we don't really have a lot of that tonight, which is good news. But we do. The big news of today, there was an earlier video where we announced it. Barcelona will be missing. Oh my God, am I pissed? It's a good question. Williams will be missing the test in Barcelona. They just couldn't get their chassis right. So basically, the extra news that's coming out, and I think one of you, it might have been, who was it that mentioned it earlier? But basically, we knew there was a chassis issue. So the chassis passed the mandatory safety test. The problem is with the chassis is it's massively overweight. They need, and I think that's what's causing Williams a problem. Like now, the minimum weight, the dry weight is now for the cars, 768 kilograms, 30 kilograms less than last year, and Williams just haven't got the chassis right. We announced it in our video actually on Monday, where we said, what's the problem? Why we announced that Williams wouldn't be going to Barcelona, or it's highly unlikely they'd make it. And it turns out they aren't going to make it. And we told you it was a chassis issue. And that's what it's looking like. It's a chassis issue. My gosh, a chassis issue for Williams, which is stopping them from making the Barcelona test. And it's a really bad news for them, because time on track is vital. And they think they're going to kind of make up for it by using virtual testing next week while all the other teams are out running on track. It just isn't going to cut it. It's bad news for Vols, because James Vols was basically saying, we're full steam ahead for 26. There's not going to be any delays. All the Williams fans should be excited. And then he's let them down on that promise at the first time of asking really for 26, which is they're not made it to Barcelona. Should Williams fans be worried? Truthfully, yes. We've seen this before with Williams and it didn't turn out great. I think it happened to Claire in 2014, and then 2019 they missed 2 days of testing. Yeah, it's just at the start of a regulation cycle. It's absolutely vital you get time on track. And, for Williams not to be there, yeah, it's pretty detrimental. They're playing catch up. Can they catch up? I don't know. I really don't know. But if you want to know more about that story, I will point you to the earlier video, which we go into it a bit more. But yeah, bad news for Williams. We'll have to just see what they come back with. But virtual testing is not going to cut it. But let's get into something a bit more fun, shall we? So yes, Williams are going to miss Barcelona, but Ferrari livery day, baby. What do we think? We'll do the Ferrari livery and then we'll get into the Lewis Hamilton video. Right, so there you go. Ferrari came out with their livery today. That's it in its full glory. Oh, I'm going to tell you what I think, and I want you to get in the chat and tell me what you think about this Ferrari livery. So, my view is this. I don't think it's a horrible livery. I just feel that Ferrari, there needs to be more red on the livery. I mean, that's my big takeaway. I mean, I would rather have an all-red Ferrari and a blue HP logo than that much white. It's too much white on the livery. You know, they've gone stealthy. They've gone stealthy with the rear wing. It's black. The front wing's mainly black. But it's that white in the middle. It would be a brilliant sort of Alfa Romeo livery, maybe. But it's just not quite Ferrari enough for me. I think it's a nice livery, but it's a miss for me. Get in the chat and tell me what you think. And this is it from the top. Not enough red. Not enough scarlet red on this Ferrari for me. I love Ferraris to be almost all red. I don't mind bits of yellow on it, but it's there's probably too much black, to be honest. Too much black on the rear wing and the front wing. And there's too much white. I don't know. I think I liked the Ferrari 24 livery, but there's just the white does not work for me. I'm sorry, Ferrari fans. It's a miss for me. It is a miss. Too much white. The HP logo obviously was what everyone was talking about last 25 car, but you know, I could handle a round blue HP logo on the car. I wouldn't have even minded it clashing on the red. It's just too much white. So it's a bit of a miss for me. But what I will say on a positive note is I heard a little bit of the Ferrari engine note from their test today, and I think it sounds pretty good. I don't mind the way the engine sounds. I was pretty pleased with that. But I'm going to see what you say in the chat. Get in the chat, tell me what you think while we're on it. Yeah, Kevin's. Oh, welcome to the chat, Kevin. Hey, DT, nice to have you in there. Extract in there. Yeah, and so yeah, I'm with you on that, DT. The white doesn't work for me. Extract says, who cares as long as it's faster than the rest? Will it be faster than the rest? The engine did sound decent. Kevin, welcome to our community, my friend. Cockpit view will suck. You know, if any of you are sim racers and you drive in the cockpit view, it's actually really quite. It's not a good view, is it? You know, everyone prefers the view from the camera view from behind the cockpit. Gemma says, totally agree with DT. Drop Tune said, yeah, a lot of black on the wing. Shay Young, welcome to the chat, my friend. They played it safe, in my opinion. Could have done so much more. Yeah, I mean, they could have done so much more red. Listen, I'm a simple guy. I like my Ferraris red. Give me a crimson red, right? That's what I want to see on my Ferrari. Jaman says, Tony, these days driving by corporate sponsors, we can't expect clean designs anymore. But I'd rather have a sort of like a clashing. Even look, Ferrari, Mercedes is a good example. I like the Mercedes livery, but yeah, that Microsoft logo clashes. It doesn't look right. But I'd rather that than this. I feel you're going too far away from your brand Ferrari. I want that blood red Ferrari. DT says, I saw one image someone modified to make the halo red. It did look better. Still not great, but better. Yeah, more red. Maybe they'll change it throughout the season. I doubt it. When they do those special liveries, we might get something a bit more special. Who knows? But yeah, but that's the Ferrari livery discussion. But this is what I wanted to show you about Lewis Hamilton. I've got Lewis's video here clipped up so you can see it. And then we'll discuss what he says in this video. Listen to what Lewis said today.
I think the driver's role is going to be critical in not only pulling laps together and delivering good results, but managing the power unit, managing the power through a lap, and also the new kind of DRS system that we have with the wings, the front and the rear wing moving, and then helping the team navigate. And the only way is through collaboration, through communication, and that's really where I think the drivers get to play a really key role in helping them.
I'll tell you what I take away from what Lewis has just said there. So he talks clearly about the challenge of managing the driver role of managing the power. That's going to be brand new. Completely agree with that. The new, as he called it, the new DRS, as he called it. But yeah, there's going to be some management with that. But the main takeaway for me was he did give a solid message, didn't he, about what him and the team need to do, which is the collaboration between him and the team, how the driver can help the team if they listen to the driver. That feedback is going to be vital. And I find this quite a subversive but very clear message. When, remember all the John Elkin stuff in 25 where the driver should just shut up and drive, he's basically saying, look, again, in a very nice way, in a very clear way, that the team need to listen to the driver, especially at this important time of a brand new regulation cycle. But in reverse of that, the driver needs to listen to his race engineer, because the battery management is going to be paramount. There is so much more to do in that cockpit, I believe, in 26 than they had in 25, because the driver has complete control of the boost button, which will deploy 440 horsepower. Well, it'll max out. It'll increase the battery power to 440 horsepower from wherever it's operating at the push of a button. And the driver has complete control of when he deploys that power. So he's going to need a really good communication with his race engineer, which brings me on to not only Lewis saying that the team need to listen to him after John Elkin said drivers should shut up, and I found that quite amusing and contradictory. But now hopefully the team are going to have that feedback loop sorted. But that feedback loop needs to also be paramount with Lewis's race engineer. Now the race engineer thing becomes quite interesting, because we were told by Ferrari that Boz, who is Charles Leclerc's race engineer, was going to do the race engineering for both drivers in Barcelona. So Boz was going to become Lewis's interim race engineer, sharing Boz with Charles Leclerc. And now we've had this rumour coming out today. This is obviously, the reports are coming out from Correa dello Sport that Lewis Hamilton's new race engineer will be Carlo Santi, the former engineer of Kimi Raikkonen, on an interim basis. So this is Lewis's second interim race engineer, right? And this is the bit that I can't clarify, but we've got to report it, even though it might be a rumor, that Carlo will hold that position temporarily, as Ferrari is that's very definite, is hiring someone from McLaren to be Hamilton's right hand. Now, we've not heard anything from Ferrari to say this, or I haven't. Maybe it's coming out during the live show. We've been reporting that Luca Diella is in pole position to take the job as Lewis Hamilton's race engineer. He's been one of Lewis Hamilton's performance engineers at Ferrari, Mercedes from 2019 to 24. Came over to Ferrari. He's one of Lewis Hamilton's performance engineers now. And we believe that he was in pole position. But this is new breaking information coming out today. It's not come out from Ferrari yet, unless it's come out during this show. And what do you think of it? But first of all, Carlo Santi was Kimi Raikkonen's race engineer, I think 2017 onwards. They didn't win a World Drivers' Championship, did they? Or a Constructors together. He hasn't been a race engineer for a while. I'm guessing because if he does get announced as the interim race engineer for Lewis Hamilton officially, well then I'm guessing he's not. Is it an audition? Is it an audition for Lewis? He has experience as a race engineer for Kimi Räikkönen, and maybe Luca Diella. There's some question marks because that would be a step up for him. It would be a promotion. He hasn't done that before. And even more intriguing is that they are hiring someone from McLaren. Who are they hiring from McLaren? McLaren have won the Constructors for 2 years on the bounce. Whose race engineers leaving Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri? Either of those two guys losing their race engineer, I'd find that very hard to believe. So we have to report it because it's news. But Krakite says Denny is normally spot on with her news on Twitter. Really? So which bits of this do I think might be true? Well, Carlo Santi stepping in as interim. I would believe that. It's the McLaren race engineer that I'm struggling with at the minute. I need more information to say that I'm nailing my hat to that mast. Because, why would you leave Lando Norris and why would you leave Oscar Piastri and McLaren after winning the Constructors 2 years on the bounce and having a World Drivers' Championship in 25? I don't know whether that makes sense. I know money talks, but would you leave Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri to join Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari when Ferrari, there's no evidence they're going to be strong in 26. There's no evidence that, they're going to bring a good package together. Lewis Hamilton, how much longer is he going to be in the sport, right? Oscar Piastri's 26, Lando Norris 27. Why would you leave two young drivers? I find it. I'm not sure about that one, but we have to talk about it. If anyone else has got more information on this, who at McLaren would leave to go to Ferrari? Can anyone tell me? Because I don't know. So Droptune said they should get Bernie Collins to do it, but I'm confused. This is the first I've heard about McLaren, because there's only, you got two race engineers. There's only two you'd want, and the one's Lando's and one's Oscar's. I don't know, man. I don't know. You tell me. But that is the rumor right now. But I tell you what's not a rumor. I will tell you what's not a rumor. Alpine's new livery. It looks quite a lot like the old livery, in my opinion. What do we think of Alpine's efforts? It's not super original, is it? I mean, I like it, but I've always quite liked the Alpine livery. But it's a bit same, right? It's a bit same. But let me know what you think in the chat. What isn't same though, and we're going to be coming to this next video in a moment, and it made me laugh because Flavio Briatore, being Briatore, he's laying down the law, saying no excuses, and I actually really quite like this interview. I'm going to play it for you. We've got the whole clip. Flavio Briatore talking at the Alpine livery launch. But for me, just before we get onto the video, same. I like it. I liked the old one. Has it wowed me? No, but, I prefer it to the Ferrari effort. I will say that. But let's listen to what Flavio Briatore had to say at the livery launch.
This year is not an excuse anymore. We have a brand new car, and we have the same driver. So Franco this year, I promise you, he's done a very good winter, and I hope he's doing much better result, and he's ready to compete with Pierre. we need two drivers. We need two drivers competing in the loyal time for the team, of course. But only for growth, we need the performance of the driver.
So, what are my takeaways from Flavio's message there? First takeaway, no excuses, brand new car. He also said within his speech, which we might not have got in that clip, where he said, we've done everything. The car's, we've engineered it to perfection. But brand new car, same drivers. And then he goes on to name and talk about Franco Colapinto, because he knows he's probably he's got to gas him up a little bit, because Franco Colapinto was, in my opinion, not great in 25. So he said Franco is here. He's done well over winter. I hope he can do much better with his results. I hope he's ready to compete with Pierre. We need two drivers competing. To grow, we need the performance of the driver. He literally laid it out to say, listen, moving forward, it's all about the drivers, putting all the pressure on the drivers. We're giving you a car. We're pleased with the engineering. There will obviously be upgrades and development of the car, but Flavio Briatore, throughout the whole of the, I don't know if you watched the whole hour. I did. Some of it was a bit boring, to be honest. But the message from Flavio Briatore was consistent. This year, in 26, he is really putting all the pressure on results down to the driver. If the car's not good, he's blaming the drivers, right? He is expecting a lot. And I think he's also saying to Franco Colapinto, all right, son, right, you've got to perform. That Gasly performed last year in a car that wasn't great, and we had all the excuses under the sun. The team were developing the 26 car from as early as February, right? Now they don't have those excuses. Franco Colapinto doesn't have those excuses. He is expecting these guys to compete with each other and to be competing for points. And they've got the Mercedes power unit. And they've developed that 26 car longer than anyone else. So I think what Flavio is saying is, look, we've done everything we can. It's down to the drivers. And I think that's a fascinating sort of message this early on. He's just saying the drivers, no excuses. No freaking excuses. And what he's also probably saying at the same time is that, certainly with Franco Colapinto, is that you can be replaced. He's almost, the thing is with Flavio, there's always this underlying threat with him. Like, there's an underlying threat of, like, look what we did to Jack Doohan last year. 6 races, was it? And he was out, and then Franco steps in. And then Franco Colapinto wasn't any better. He just brought more money into the team. But yeah, I really quite, there's this undercurrent of threat, but I do kind of like what he's doing. Is he playing a masterful mind game with the drivers, getting them thinking, shit, right, we've got to perform, no excuses, like this is it. And the one question that never came up, which I wanted the presenter, Clara, to ask, was about the rumours about Christian Horner. Even if she said it really quite sort of gently and said, are there any surprises in store in the coming months over at Alpine? Something that could allude to what's going on with the management structure, what's going on with the sale of the shares. Otro Capital trying to sell 24% of the team. None of it came up. Maybe she was told not to mention Horner. Maybe. But that's what we all wanted to hear. I wanted to get an indication that there was something else happening. But we didn't get any. We didn't get any indications. But we didn't get any indication how Renault feel about selling. Even if they didn't mention Horner, but they mentioned the potential sale from Otro Capital, the 24% shares, and say, how does Renault feel about taking on new partners and Otro Capital selling those shares? Are Renault going to be using their power to veto any sale of those shares? Any change in leadership structure that we can, could possibly happen in 26? That was all avoided. And I don't know why. And I think the reason why, and I think one of the reasons why Flavio was talking about no excuses on the drivers, because Flavio knows what's going on. He knows those negotiations are taking place. And the other thing that Flavio said, which might be an indication, one indication about the future of the team, is he said that we are funded. We have money. We have been able to develop this car extremely well. We're not behind in that respect when it comes to funding. So is that because money's coming in with Horner? Is that why he said that, there's no problem with funding when we know Renault are in financial trouble and their share price has gone down? That's the only indication that I could say is why he was saying no excuses. We're not broke. We've got money. We've engineered the car. In their eyes, they've engineered every part of their car to the maximum, is what he said. So, I don't know. I would have liked more clues. I would have liked more clues from that. But the big takeaway is Flavio Briatore. It's all on the freaking drivers. It's all on the drivers. What do you think about that? I'm going to go to the chat. Oh yeah. First of all, I'll just say. Drop tune, hideous. Were you saying hideous to about Alpine's or Ferrari's livery, by the way? Because I know some of you might be a little bit behind the footage. Muzz says must be subordinate to their engineers, which doesn't seem the way to go. The drivers being subordinate to their engineers. I don't think Lewis Hamilton's going to have that this year. Encrypt, yeah. DT says if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, talking about Alpine's livery. Crackite says. Phil Prue was Hamilton's first race engineer. Apparently, he's with Red Bull, not McLaren. Then you have Mark Temple, who worked with Hamilton and is still at McLaren, but he's high up. Not sure who he is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Cracker either. I'm just not sure. Drop Tune says Alpine colours uninspired for sure. Hideous, probably a bit harsh. Jaman says Flavio needs this car to perform at high level to keep the Alpine team worth a high price for resale in September. Yeah, well, the team does need to perform better, right? You can't. You're P10. You've got to do better. And if they're with the Mercedes power unit, with the advantage that brings, they're gonna be competing for 6th, 7th, 8th. I would have thought in Australia, which is good news. Auxilia says, fair point, Crackite. Nico Rosberg would have asked him. Yeah, 100% Crackite. I love Nico Rosberg. He would have come straight out and said it, wouldn't he? What's going on with Horner? What's going on with the sale of those shares? 100% they need to do this. Oh, poll. Do you know what we're going to do, Drop Tuned? Let's see. I can only run one poll at a time. I'll do... Is the Ferrari... Let's just do a quick poll on Ferraris first. Is Ferrari's livery 26 livery? I've typed so slowly. 6 livery. A win. Okay. I don't think I can do 2 polls at the same time, can I? Maybe I can. Let me see if I can do another poll. No, I can't. Well, I have to do one poll at a time. We're on the Ferrari poll first. Is Ferrari's 26 livery a win? Yes or no? And then we'll do one. We'll run this one for 10 minutes and we'll run the Alpine one. So yeah, it's kind of wild, I think. The Alpine situation, and for them not to mention it. They really should have done. They really should. Auxilia says, must have been a last-minute decision for Ferrari. Why wait only weeks before the season to replace Hamilton's race engineer? Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. Like, why is there still a discussion about Hamilton's race engineer? They knew ages, like before the winter break, that it wasn't working out with the Dami. Like, why are they still in discussions about it now before Barcelona? Why is it another interim? Boz was going to be his interim for Barcelona. Now we've got Carlos Santi is an interim. And now we've got talking about McLaren race engineers. How are they going to get them? Don't they have a contract? Like, I mean, who? Like, Luca Diella is available now. He already works at Ferrari. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's Hamilton. Maybe Hamilton's like saying, look, I want someone different to Luca. I don't know. But it's wild. And I think it's because I was reading an article that Ferrari didn't actually want Adami to lose his job as Hamilton's race engineer. And I think the reason why it's taken so long for Adami to be removed from that position is because there was discussions back and forth where Ferrari were fighting Adami's corner with Hamilton, and Hamilton's like, fuck no. Did you not listen? Where were you all season? Did you not see how we worked together? We're checking, right? And then final race of the season, the disrespect, that's the only word I can use from Adami when Hamilton was trying to thank him. Like, there just was no emotional connection, no connection between them. Like, how could Ferrari have been trying to then keep Adami in his position when Hamilton quite obviously was like saying, he's not going to be my race engineer. So I think that conversation back and forth over the winter break has meant that finally Ferrari have gone, all right then, we're going to move Adami to a different role, and he can be moved into the testing previous car program and the head of the driver academy, and we'll have to find a new race engineer. But it's so late in the day because not only do the cars need time on track to collect data and to even just to collaborate their simulators, the drivers need time on track. And if you're getting a brand new race engineer, that time on track with your race engineer is vital. And this interim bollocks is just not going to work out. Yeah, drop tune, we are checking. I mean, it didn't take a genius to work out that was not going to be tenable in 26. Adami was going to go. They should have just, immediately after Abu Dhabi, they should have, listen, Adami, you're out. And they should have started trying to fill that role. And if they wanted to steal or entice a race engineer from another team, then that should have started ages ago. That should have started throughout winter. And they should have paid any compensation if they have to buy him out of his contract early and do that. It's like they say, it's as though they think that Hamilton's race engineer isn't as important as all the other elements. I would argue, and especially after we listened to Hamilton in his video earlier, that the race engineer is probably your second most important position after your driver, because they are working in tandem. Not only are they communicating with each other in real time to help the driver optimize the performance of the car, that race engineer is taking the data from the performance engineers to optimize the performance of the car at the same time. All of that's going on. And to not have one is ridiculous. And of course it's going to hamper Hamilton. So, but I also understand that making a bad decision, recruiting the wrong person, again, is going to be an issue. But this is why I keep going back to Luca Diella. Luca Diella is an engine and power unit specialist. Well, we're going into an era where power unit / battery management is going to be vital. So you want a guy who understands that, who can see the numbers on the screen, can see the data, and knows exactly what to tell the driver. Exactly, quickly, efficiently. I mean, I'm not convinced Luca Diella's not going to get the job. Unless there's something we don't know. I mean, he seems like he'd be ideal. Ferrari have a very idiosyncratic philosophy about these things. Yeah, I think they do. I also think they have. There's this arrogance, isn't there, with Ferrari, where the team want to call the shots, and to an extent, the boss does need to call the shots. But with certain things, like developing the car, you cannot avoid listening to the driver. Driver feedback on how to improve the car is vital. Adrian Newey's right about that. And it has to be there has to be a driver, like, has to choose the race engineer. At least 50% of that decision has to be the drivers over the team. because they're the ones that need to have that relationship. So it has to be collaborative on choosing the correct race engineer. So yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. At least with Flavio Briatore, which is with the previous story, with the story that we were talking about now, regarding his message. His message is super clear to his drivers. It's like, we've given you the car, you better go and do your job, right? Or you won't be in your job for that long. And I think that was really aimed at Franco Colapinto more than Pierre Gasly. But yeah, I don't know. Ferrari, still bad decisions. But the main positive about today, Ferrari, I think it sounded great. Drop Tune said 100% it's odd, but I don't think they'll ever change. Very old-fashioned. Certainly not what Hamilton needs. Hamilton needs quite an emotional structure around him. He's an emotional guy. He needs an arm around him. I think that's true. And I think going into a team for the first year is obviously difficult for anybody. Being given a race engineer by the team, go, there you go, here's Adami, he's experienced. I think him and Carlos Sainz actually did pretty well together, right? So but that doesn't matter that he did well with Carlos Sainz. He might still be heartbroken that Carlos Sainz has left and he's trying to get over a breakup. Maybe Adami all season was like, not over his ex, right? And if you're not over your ex, you're not going to be good in your next relationship, are you? It's going to be an absolute mess. And maybe that's what's gone on with Adami. I don't know. But it didn't work. And this race engineer situation for Hamilton's going to drag on to the detriment for Lewis. But let's hope with the delays, with all of this, he gets the right one. But yeah, let's see what comes out from Ferrari over the next few days. I'm expecting them to comment a little bit, maybe in Barcelona. But we'll follow the story. We'll find out. Right. And don't forget, we've got a poll running. I'm going to run it for a couple more minutes because then we're going to do a poll on the Alpine livery. So far, by the way, a quick update, is Ferrari's 26 livery a win? 59% say yes, 41% say no. And I feel that's my opinion on it as well. I'm sort of like, it's a no for me, but it's a no because it's not a no because it's not a good livery. I just don't think it's a good Ferrari livery, right? So that's why I'm in the no camp. But another couple of minutes on that while I go into the next story, which is Mercedes. Shakedown mileage is a warning shot to the rest of the grid. So Mercedes managed to complete a 200-kilometer test at Silverstone. They're the first team to do a full test run session of a full 200k. This is good news for Mercedes. It's more than a shakedown. It's they're getting valuable data on reliability, performance, and yeah, it's a small warning to the rest of the grid that Mercedes' brand new car and engine is looking strong. They did the maximum they're allowed to do on a filming day, straight out of the box. George Russell and Kimi Antonelli both driving. And when you compare it, Audi only managed 50k, and most of the other cars did a lot less because they were doing demonstration events, which are capped at 15 kilometers. So, you're talking about a lot more running time for Mercedes than anybody else. So it's good news. It's good news. But by the way, Alpine did 140k at Silverstone, which is great news for Alpine as well. But they're running the Mercedes power unit. And that also links into, we've been talking about Alpine a lot. I think a lot of this is coming down to the message from Flavio Briatore. They're convinced they've built a very good platform. And we'll find out. But yeah, that's good news for Mercedes. Massively out in front from a development point of view, from the engine, the chassis, the loophole they've managed to exploit. And I'm going to stop calling it a loophole because it's been deemed legal from the FIA. So, it's not even a loophole, is it? It's just clever engineering. They're way out in front. Toto Wolff is just, he's waking up with the biggest smile on his face every day. He's in good shape. And it's great news for Williams, great news for Alpine, great news for McLaren. Even though McLaren have said they're not going to do any significant upgrades until after Australia, until they see what the competition are doing. That's their strategy. Let's just get a car out there. Let's just make sure it'll do, 70 laps. But also, let's get a good look at what everyone else is doing before we throw our resources into upgrades. But McLaren probably feel that they've got a streamlined operation where they can deliver upgrades pretty quickly. So yeah, maybe they've got it right. Maybe it's a clever move from McLaren, but it is looking good for all of the Mercedes powered teams. But yeah, so what do you think about that? Mercedes just miles out in front at the moment, which also opens up the conversation when I do my predictions for where I think people are going to finish in 26. And I've been purposely leaving. I know every other YouTuber's been going into 2026 predictions early. I wanted to wait till after testing to give my predictions. But here's an early one. Could this be George Russell's year? I mean, could it be the one for Russell? I mean, Mercedes look like they're going to be good. George Russell could win his first World Driver Championship this year. Let me know what you think about that in the chat. Krakai says, yeah, it's a yes for me because it's better than last year's, but still not up to par. Drop Tune said, is the Merc pushrod front and rear? I think everybody's going to be pushrod front and rear, I think so. I think everyone's going to be... I think everyone will be pushrod front and rear in 26, Mercedes included. Jaman says, here's a good question. Which Mercedes customer will be higher in the team standings by mid-season? Alpine or Williams? Oh, well, after this debacle, I'm going with Alpine. I think Alpine... That's a great question, that, Jaman. Thank you. If I had to predict right now, put my money on Williams or Alpine next year, even though Alpine finished P10 and Williams finished P5 in 25, I think... Because I think it's so detrimental that Williams are not at Barcelona, I think we could see a stronger Alpine than Williams in 26. Ooh, that's what I think. That's what I think. I think this is not. I think this does not look good for Williams. Drop tunes, or it could be Kimi champion. Oh yeah, could you imagine if Kimi? Yeah, could you imagine Kimi Antonelli beating George Russell this year? Stranger things have happened. He did catch up to him at the end of 25, didn't he? He was definitely keeping George Russell honest. Definitely. I mean, I would love to see it. I mean, I'd love to see those two fighting it out, but it could happen. But yeah, we're going to get into a full predictions show. Auxilla, imagine George... Thank you so much for your super chat, Auxilla. Imagine George wins the World Drivers' Championship. They maybe get cut because Toto will do anything to get Max for 27. That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one, Auxilla. Because honestly, Toto would cut George, for Max. He'd do it tomorrow. Here's a question. Can you name a driver that wins the World Driver Championship for their team and then doesn't get a contract extension? They get cut from their team. Can anyone name one? A driver that wins a World Driver Championship for their team and then gets cut from their team. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Damon Hill. Did he get let go from Williams? Is that because he went to Eddie Jordan? Did he go to Jordan? So the Damon Hill one's interesting. Someone needs to Google this and check this. Damon Hill wins a world championship at Williams. Did he get cut? Is that why? Because he ended up at Jordan. Did he go to Jordan? I can't remember. It was a long time ago. It was in the 90s. Arrows, 1997. Arrows didn't win a world driver championship though, did they? Oh, you tell me that's where Damon Hill went in 97. He went to Arrows in 97. Right. So Damon Hill got dropped. Frank Williams was ruthless. But Frank Williams, did you watch the Damon Hill documentary on Sky? Damon Hill was basically saying the whole time that Frank Williams never rated him, really. Even when he was leading the World Driver Championship, he didn't really get backed. Interesting. So I like that, Auxilla. Thank you so much for your super chat. Good one. But yeah, it could happen. I mean, I think George Russell gets a drive at another top team, though. If George Russell got cut from Mercedes for Max, could I see George driving for Aston? Yeah. Could I see George, here's one, driving at Ferrari? Yeah, possibly. Could he be a straight swap for Red Bull? Less likely, but possible. But I think George still gets a top team. But yeah, everyone's behind Mercedes right now. So that's why I'm holding off from our predictions. So we will do, I tell you what, get ready for this. I'm trying to think of a way where we can all log our predictions. So what I want to do, right, I'm going to tell you my idea, and maybe give me some suggestions how we can do it. I want everybody to give their full running order, like where all drivers will finish. The 22 drivers on the grid, 1 to 22, and anyone that gets it right wins a prize, right? Because that's quite hard to do. But if you get your 22 right, we'll have some sort of giveaway, like hoodies or something. But I thought it'd be quite cool. I'm just trying to think of a way we can document it. I don't know how to do it. Maybe I have to do it through our website. I have to build something where you can predict, where we can do a prediction show where you can all predict your 22 drivers. I'll predict mine, where they're going to finish, and see who gets it right at the end of the season. And we'll give away some merch or something, right? For the people that get it right. Anyone have any ideas how to do that, please get in touch. And if you're a web developer, we need to do it through f1grandstand.com, let me know. But that's the show I want to do, where we can all do it together. If you like the idea, get in the chat, let me know. And if you can help how we can actually do that, I'd love your help on that. But that's what we'll do before the... what Dropshoe said, do we have merch yet? No, but by the end of this season, we will. We will have merch. We're definitely going to do merch. I've got some cool designs. We've got some cool designs, and then we'll give away some free merch, right? So that's, if anyone knows how to do that, please let me know and get in touch. Crackeye says, wonder what's going through Russell's head. Got to be bugging him a little bit. Yeah, I mean, God, if you're driving for Mercedes and you got Toto Wolff courting Max Verstappen at every opportunity he gets, it's going to piss him off, because he's only really got a 1-year deal. He's got these automatic extensions, performance-related extensions, but I think there's jeopardy clauses in there as well if he doesn't perform to a certain level that they can get rid of him. So yeah, I don't know. Auxilla says, I will say if Ferrari blow it again this year, they won't have either Lewis or Charles in 27. 100% agree, Auxilla. 100% agree. If Ferrari are way off the mark in 26, Leclerc's gone. And he's probably gone to Aston. Hamilton's gone because I think he's just decided 7 world championships is enough. Ferrari then have to go to, I believe, to Behrman, comes in. And the other seat, I don't know. Do they want a big hitter? You know, do you try and get an Oscar Piastri and convince him that they're going to do better in 27? Do you go for... I mean, who else would you go for? Do you go Piastri? I don't know who else I'd go for. Who's a big hitter? Lando Norris? He's not going to leave McLaren, is he? I think you're looking at really a move from... I mean, you're not going to get Verstappen if they're bad. There's no way Verstappen's going to Ferrari, no matter what promises you give him. One of the other rookies, I don't know. I think Behrman's your shoe-in. Maybe a Bortoletto. I don't know. And Auxilla says, yeah, it depends how disgruntled Piastri gets this year. Exactly. I think if Piastri gets pissed off, I think Ferrari's I mean, even Mark Webber, remember, was talking this year about maybe Piastri needs to learn Italian. He's already dropping hints. So I think Piastri's an option. Dropshoe said, I mean Bridgestone in the earlier comment about Damon winning the 1997 Hungary race. I can't remember. You know what? My brain, my 90s recollection is not brilliant. It is not brilliant. It needs to get better. But yeah, it's But yeah, it's interesting about how that'll all play out. Yeah, I don't know. Right, next story. I'm gonna go. I'm going on a lot tonight, guys. Right, the next story is Audi says the first shakedown was unsuccessful and we are not ready. So let me go into their quote. And it's Matteo. So basically, Matteo Binotto's frank admission about Audi's Formula One shakedown. Binotto acknowledged that Audi faced significant problems on day one, even if you tried to spin them into a positive. Just days for the start of pre-season testing and 6 weeks before Australian Grand Prix, the Italian admits his team are not ready. No shit, Sherlock. It's your first season. And this is what he says. We're not ready. We're still facing problems. We are still not at the level of performance we need to be. Our powertrain and power unit are not yet drivable as they should be, but that's all normal. It's not unexpected, so I can say even the filming day maybe was not a successful day, but it was a positive one because we faced problems, but those problems were useful for us to further learn and further prepare for the start of the season. And the next test is at the end of the month in Barcelona. So very frank admissions from Binotto, because look, I think we need to say that Audi did well. They were to be one of the first teams to get a shakedown and to get out on track. Audi have done well to bring their own power unit. So a truly works Audi team, you could say. And, they're going to be shit, right? It's going to be shit the first day out of a shakedown or a small test. Yeah, it's not going to be working right. You're going to have a lot of problems to solve. It's going to be difficult. So it's not a surprise that Audi and Binotto are saying that that you're not ready. No one's ready, right? Nobody's ready yet. The people who are further up the curve are obviously Mercedes, but nobody is ready. So we can't panic. Audi shouldn't panic. They're doing some good stuff. The only thing is they lost the battle, I think, with complaining to the FIA about the engine loophole. But tough shit. You got to get over that. You got to keep moving forward. You're not going to win that argument, and you're certainly not going to change it by moaning about it. You got to sit on the problems, focus on the problems, and solve them one by one. And I do think Binotto is good at that. And I think you've also got Wheatley, who's good at that. And I think you've got the might of Audi behind you, which know how to win. Their pedigree in rally championships, endurance racing, like they're not like their CEO said, like we've come to make history. That's what they said in their launch event. We want to make history. We will make history, and we aim to win a championship by 2030, and that's 5 years. Well, it's not. It's 4 years. Took Red Bull 5 years. Audi want to do it in 4. It's fighting talk. I like it, but nah. And yeah, WC, they were dominant. So I think Audi will get their shit together, and I think it'll take them a few years, I think, to get to challenge for the top spots. But could they do it by 2030 in 4 years? If anyone can do it, I'd say Audi could do it. But let's see. But yes, Binotto, being very honest, they are struggling right now. Well, no shit, Sherlock. So is everybody. Right? So is everybody. Right, and the final story is a quick one. But again, I just think it's... again, this is another no shit, Sherlock. And it says, Adrian Newey left furious about hearing the rumour about the Mercedes 2026 car. I'm keeping this short because I don't want to talk about engines. But apparently, Adrian Newey is furious, according to reports by L'Equipe. Aston Martin team principal Adrian Newey is reportedly furious about the FIA's ruling on Mercedes and Red Bull's engine. He was saying that because the sensor to measure the increase in ratio, which was touted during the FIA's meeting with the relevant parties, but failed to receive unanimous support from enough members of the grid, this has made Adrian Newey furious. And he's talking about the suggestion of a sensor that can measure the engines at race temperatures and measure the compression ratios. And obviously, because, you've got 6 teams on the grid that are benefiting from the engine loophole and 5 teams that aren't. Of course, they didn't get a vote passed through to say they're going to introduce this measurement anytime soon. This sensor measurement anytime soon. So Newey's furious. But you're talking about a guy, and this is what I wanted to talk about. Why I think it's a bit rich for Newey to get to be furious. This is what I think. Newey is the king of exploiting regulations. He's done it since the 90s successfully. So the one person that really shouldn't be furious about other teams getting that part right, and that's why I thought it was funny, it's why I'm even sharing today's story on this, it's because Adrian Newey is the last person who should say he's a king of exploitation, of interpretation, if you want to call it that, of the rule book. So Adrian Newey's rocket ship could still be a rocket ship. He will have exploited other areas of that rule book. I am sure of it. But just because him and Honda perhaps didn't get it right straight off the bat and they've got some catching up to do, Newey, you win some, you lose some, bro. You win some, you lose some. And you've won plenty in the past. This one, you've just got to play catch up. Oh, drop tuned. Yeah, I missed the Alpine poll. Oh, bollocks. I'll have to do it on another one. I'll have to catch up on an Alpine poll on the next show. Oh, I do need a moderator, by the way, because I can't keep up with it. Oh, no, Auxilla, don't make me laugh. Don't make me laugh. Honda's round 2 of GP2 engine. Thank you so much for your super chat, Auxilla. Because what's funny about that is it's Fernando Alonso's comments, who's at Aston Martin. So can you imagine if Alonso comes out with that in Australia? Because there'll be journalists pushing for it if Honda are way off the mark. And Fernando Alonso is very straight with his talking. I wonder though whether this has come up by maybe Adrian Newey spoken to Fernando, Lawrence Stroll maybe even spoken to Fernando and said, listen, if we are behind the curve with our power unit, please, for the love of God, don't compare Honda's engine to a GP2 engine. In fact, keep your comments about the engine down to a minimum, because it's a brand new relationship and we've got to develop it and we're going to need Honda to catch up, right? Taking advantage of the additional upgrade opportunities that we might be granted if we are 3% down on power. So yeah, maybe Fernando Alonso's got a gagging order on him from Newey and Stroll, but it definitely could be a situation like that at Aston Martin, couldn't it? Oh God, let's see. But I've not even seen the Aston Martin out on track yet. Well, because it could be a red herring. Like here's the thing with Honda. Like even these stories that are coming out from Aston Martin, like is Newey really furious? Are Honda really that far behind the curve? Because we've got to factor in Cowell's comments here. Cowell, engine power unit specialist, chief technical officer, specializing in the engine integration with Honda and their partners. And Cowell's been singing from a different hymn sheet. Cowell said quite clearly, we understand thermal dynamics. All teams will be exploiting thermal dynamics in their engine, which sounds like a very different message to what we're getting from, other parts of Aston Martin. So maybe, just maybe, this is a red herring. Maybe it's a red herring. We will find out. But yeah. Oh, I dropped you. You sent an email. Brilliant. I will check the email address. Right. I will email you back. Thank you so much. Because that email address that we advertise is not one I won't look at all the time, but I do check in it. I do check it. But like, bear with me, Drop Tune. I will get back to you, but that's where we will be collecting all of the interest for sim racing. Thank you very much if that's you getting in touch about that, because we are going to be doing that. I guarantee it. So yeah, I wonder, there's still a question mark for me, just how bad or good the Honda engine is. It could just be all red herring, and they might not be that far behind the curve. Adrian Newey could be playing a game of, don't look at us, look at them. You know, we don't want you analysing what we're doing. We want you thinking we're going to be crap, and then we come out with our rocket ship in Melbourne. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see in testing. So yeah. Friday night. I feel like I've waffled a lot tonight. I feel like it's a Friday show. It's been a little bit more relaxed. Like I'm drinking a brandy and Coke. Maybe we should do that. Friday night should be brandy and Coke night. Sponsored by Courvoisier. That's what we should do. I like Friday show. A bit more relaxed. And thank you so much for joining me. By the way, I know we normally do live shows Monday to Friday. They're guaranteed. This weekend, though, might do one on Sunday night, but there might be some breaking news as well, so make sure your notifications are on. I'll try and give plenty of warning if I'm going live Sunday night for a catch up, but bear with me, I will let you know. Otherwise, definitely lives Monday night 7:30 as usual, but I'm going to try and bring into the schedule that we're released on a Sunday night as well. So anyway, bear with me on that. Brilliant. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and enjoy your Friday night. I will see you over the weekend for sure, one way or another. Okay. Thanks for watching. Ta-ta.